All right, everybody, welcome back to the best damn training channel on YouTube. I don't know where to begin this video today. I've done my warm-up. I'm feeling pretty good. What I've done is got loose a little bit, started doing my warm-up drills. I'm ending today with a couple hard build-ups, so I'm gonna be building up gradually over this 30 meters. And then once I hit 30 meters, I'm gonna try to sprint hard for about 10 to 15. So the camera is roughly 10-ish, maybe a little bit shorter than 10 meters from this cone right here. And then I'm just gonna carry that out for a couple build-ups. But the goal for today is sprint hard, feel good, and we're getting into the weight room and we're gonna be able to do some light work because this week on Summer of Speed program is week 4. Week 4 was a designed deload period and I needed it. Monday and Tuesday, I felt like dog shit when I got in here. I went real hard last week, high volume, highest intensities on the lifts relative to the weeks prior to that. Took Saturday, Sunday off, came in on Monday, felt heavy, felt like I was moving slow, running through sand, as I've said before. Tuesday, I did some tempo work. The tempos even felt like shit. Don't even know if I was at 70% intensity. I kind of just jogged back and forth 8 times, did a couple sets of the core work and then called it quits. I woke up today, felt good. Got to the track, did my warm up. I felt light again. I felt a little bit of spring in the step, felt bouncy. So I decided I'm gonna set the timing eyes up, get some sprints in today, and compare those relative to what they've been for the weeks previous. So 20s and 30s is gonna be what the sprint distances are today. Do 2 good reps on both of those. We'll do some pogos and then we'll get into the weight room. So I'm gonna be timing the 20s, timing the 30s, same setup. Every 10 meters, we'll get a time on that. Couple buildups here. Then we're gonna set up the timing eyes and we're gonna bust off some 20s and 30s. All right, so we're gonna start off with some 20s, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 0 to 20. Those are gonna be the 3 times that we're gonna have on these 20s. Now, if I remember correctly, like mid 280s have been my fastest reps on these 20s over the last 3 weeks, like 284, 285. If we're anywhere close to 285, that means we've already begun the upswing and we're starting to recover and feel good again. If we're around like 295 to 3, that means that we're probably still at that bottom phase and starting to turn our way back up towards recovery. And if we're substantially slower than that, that means we're still going down and we're not actually recovering. So I don't expect these to be like 3-1s or anything like that. Maybe like mid 290s to be conservative on this. But like I said, legs are feeling decent. I feel like I can have competitive times, but I'm not expecting like a personal best coming up today. But we'll get ready for rep number 1 here. All right, so looking at the numbers here, rep number 1, 292, which is where I thought it would be, at a 175 on that first 10, 117 on the second. Rep number 2, 285. Surprising. What I see here though is 0 to 10, 166. 10 to 20, 119, but a 166 on the 0 to 10 is showing me that I got some explosive power still, that the recovery is there. At this point in time right now, I've got some explosive power. So that's coming back very quickly. Now, when we get into the 30s here, and we start measuring this 20 to 30 zone, that'll give me a good estimate of like on how that max velocity might be recovering after 4 days off, essentially from a hard training period. And what I'm assuming is that max velocity won't be there. Max velocity is a lot more intense. It's a lot more nervous system demanding because you're going faster. You're experiencing more force on the ground. So having the explosive power to be able to go from 0 to 10 quickly is great. But am I recovered enough to be able to hit some top end speed stuff? Which in my opinion, I'm going to say no. I don't think I'm going to be getting down to 1 second on that 20 to 30 zone. I'm probably going to be around like the high O's, so like 107 to 109, maybe even like a 1-1, just because I know how demanding max velocity is going to be. And not saying that I feel like I'm going to be getting into max velocity here, but comparing it to what I know my fastest time was from 20 to 30, which was right around 1 flat, I'm assuming I'm going to be somewhere around the high 1-0 something, 107, 108, 109. So, which then when we get into our max velocity work, later on this week on Friday, and I'm starting to do some harder, more max velocity specific sprints, then I would expect to be closer to that 100, because at that point I would have 7 days off before hitting another max velocity type session. And that's usually 7 to 10 days is like that sweet spot for me to start seeing some numbers comparable to like previous bests when we're looking at a training block over 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it might be. So I'm gonna take a few minutes here, rest up. The rest in between these I've been doing is just kind of full recovery. Like I'm not working on anything specific other than just getting some good solid reps in. So take 3-4 minutes in between each. You don't need to time it. Just get to the point where you feel like, okay, the legs feel good again. Let's knock off another rep. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So we'll do that, reset the cones up so we get the 10-meter sections on each of the 30s. And then we got 2 repetitions of the 30 today. That rep right there was the fastest 10 that I've had this entire first 4 weeks of this program. A 162, 0 to 10, a 118, 10 to 20, and then a 101, 20 to 30, which puts me at 22.15 miles per hour, which again, hitting 22 at that 20 to 30 range, knowing I'm training for a 60 means I'm going to be hitting 24 by the time I get to like 40 to 50 and being able to try to push that through 60 meters, which is incredible to see a 22 mile an hour today. Honestly, I was basing all my assessments off of how I originally felt warming up. Like, you know what? I think I can get close to my best. Let's say on the 20s, like I said, if I can get into the 295s, I'd be happy with that. In the 30s, I thought like mid 390s, I would be happy with that. Being able to hit a 382, which is my fastest 30 during the first 4 weeks, while also hitting a 162 on 0 to 10, which is my fastest 0 to 10 for the first 4 weeks, is incredible. Was not expecting that to happen today. But as I was continuing rep after rep after rep, it started feeling better and better and better. And I think the 10s actually got better and better and better from the 20s to the 30s. So rep 1 on the 20s, I think was like a 170 something. Rep 2 was a high 160. Rep 1 on the 30s was a 169, so high 160, and then 162. And I can tell you, the one thing I feel like I did different on that between the reps previous to that last rep was I put a lot of weight onto my hands and tried to get like a really light feeling in each of the feet that were on the ground. So I was in a 4-point stance. I loaded up my arms and really kind of got into a forward lean, which I think helped me just move horizontally in a much quicker time than times previous where I'm trying to have like a little bit more load onto the legs. That could be the reason why 0 to 10 was substantially faster, which also led to the 10 to 20 being faster and also led to the 20 to 30 being faster. But was not expecting that. And like I said, as the reps kept going, I've kept feeling better and better. As for the track session, that is I'm going to count that as a win. Well, obviously I'm going to count that as a win because I just ran faster than I've ran for the last 3 weeks. So obviously, great track session here. Now we're going to move into the weight room, and I got some surprises for you guys in the weight room today. Now, I talked about this a few months ago, about there were going to be some changes going into the weight room. The changes have started to happen. We're getting to a point where things are looking really good. And we're going to go into the weight room today, do some bench press, do some pull-ups, do a little bit of upper body work, probably do a couple core exercises, and then be done for the day for all of the weight room stuff. So up next, you guys are going to see the weight room surprise plus some upper body work. So, as you guys can see, we got a new space for the gym, or at least for part of the gym. This is going to be kind of a 2-area gym. So all of the racks and the weightlifting platform are now in these 2 rooms, which used to have golf simulators in them. And then the dumbbells and other equipment is going to go outside in the hallway. I'll show you guys that here in a second, but warming up for the bench, we got 2 sets, 800 kilos on the bench. Then we got some chin-ups. Then we got some dumbbell rows, and that's probably gonna be it for today because I'm trying to keep this week pretty light and easy. So hit a few movements, get out of the gym. So I'm gonna warm up, hit some bench press. I do have to go back into the other room to do the pull-ups because we don't have a bar in here yet to do pull-ups. So I'll show you guys kind of the other section of the gym that's being built out. So then this is essentially going to be a much larger space in combined total square footage if you combine this place plus the new section, and where we're going to be adding some turf and some other stuff as well. All right, and as you can see, everything in here is pretty much gone. There's a little bit of the flooring left, no racks, no dumbbells, just the pull-up bar, which is why I'm in here. But what's happening is all the squat racks and weightlifting platform that was here is now in those 2 rooms. And then that big hallway that's outside now has rubber matting all the way down that hallway, which is around 50 meters total. Where the bikes are, the dumbbells are gonna go behind there. There's gonna be some benches that go out there. There's an open space with no rubber flooring out there right now. That's gonna be laid down with turf. So that'll be fun. There's a sled, so might be able to do some contrasting work with some sled stuff and some plyos that have space to do some stuff like that in later on programs. But I would say overall, it's an improvement. Higher ceilings is gonna allow me to do some plyos and stuff with my weightlifting sessions. I don't have to do everything out at the track now. It's a little bit smaller in there though, but having that open space in the hallway with the turf and having a lot more room there, I think is a benefit for everybody just because there's more space to do everything. So as for the deload week with the upper body work, what I'm looking at doing is a couple sets of some pull-ups. We're just gonna rep it out. No added weight or anything like that. We're just gonna go to like 4 reps in reserve, feel good with this. Do the same thing with some dumbbells, get a lighter weight, do some reps, 8 to 10 on that, doesn't need to be too heavy, and then be done with the rest of today's session. So enjoy the rest of the workout. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.